It's the old Doctor Who show, episode number 20, The Deadly Assassin. Because he's shutting down your butt stuff.
Go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine. You couldn't control my mind before, and you certainly can't control it now.
Would you like a jelly, Debbie?
The TARDIS, when working properly, is capable of many amazing things.
Reverse the polarity of the neutron flows, and the TARDIS will be free of the force field.
Well, the TARDIS is more than a machine. It's unity, but a person.
The resulting reaction is Are you ready?
All right, welcome to the old Doctor Who show. I am your host, Eric.
And I'm your other host, Dan.
This is the show where we would watch streaming Doctor Who on Netflix or Hulu.
Wait,
but maybe that's not the case anymore.
You say it like it's in the past tense. That's weird.
I do, because we have breaking news. Well, I guess it happened.
This news broke
February 1st. Yeah. All the episodes are gone.
Yeah, BBC pulled all streaming rights from Amazon, Netflix, and Hulu. I didn't even know that there was that much on Amazon to begin with. But anyway, they're all gone.
Yeah, Amazon had been gone. Like, since the time that we started this podcast a year ago. Yeah, remember,
Amazon
it left
decided
Netflix.
To stop. Right.
Yeah, it ended up leaving Netflix. Then it came back.
Yep.
Then it left Amazon.
Yeah, and Hulu was the place where most of the classic episodes were available. So this is really kind of crappy.
A bit of a quandary here. We have, I think, 3 scenarios.
Yep.
They negotiate an exclusive deal with Netflix or Hulu.
Meh.
That could certainly happen.
Meh.
Probably unlikely.
Nope.
The next one, they launch an app of their own with every episode, something really cool, kind of like the Simpsons world.
Yeah.
But with Doctor Who. And then you can log in and authorize against, your cable provider. Which is what most of the channels do. Like, if you look at FX or Encore or Stars
HBO,
or any of those things. Yeah. Or they do their own HBO Now, CBS digital platform where you pay $14 a month.
I'm thinking that's the most likely. Okay, so here's the complication I see, is all this stuff had been available on the BBC player, whatever it is, but it's only available if you're in the UK because of the way that their TV system, the public broadcasting is subsidized by a TV tax that all the citizens have to pay, and blah, blah, blah. So they're the only ones that had access to it. Then there was the whole thing with BBC America that makes it a little more complicated. So BBC America would stream or would air the current series of Who a little bit late. When it first started, it was very late.
Yeah, but then they matched
the next day.
The next day, right?
Yeah, or day of. Now it was next day. Now it's day of. So they were trying to fight piracy. That's why they moved it up, because even with a 24-hour delay, people are still pirating the heck out of this. So I think that makes it more complicated. If they're going to do, I think they're going to do their own service. That's what I'm seeing that's the scuttlebutt.
Sure,
they're going to do their own service. I'm afraid that it's not going to be an HBO Go like experience where you can authenticate against your cable provider who carries BBC America.
Right.
That's what I'm afraid
of.
I'm
hoping that it is.
I hope so.
Just because most of them do that, and what is the point of putting it on BBC America anyway? Because most, like Verizon, I'm sure Comcast, have some kind of video on demand element to it anyway. And with DVRs and the fact that BBC America does air classic episodes of Who, like, what's the difference? They do.
No,
they do. Like, I know.
Do they?
Yeah, because when they did...
I've never seen a classic episode of Who on BBC America, but I don't watch
I don't know
BBC
how
America
often they do, but when I still had cable and they were starting season 9, they ran Genesis of the Daleks before the Return to Skaro that we saw in season 9.
That's pretty awesome.
But anyway, I mean, it could be... Again, I don't think the audience... I don't think the market is ready for another pay service. CBS is trying it. I think that's going to fail. Like,
I don't think it's going to enter into it. I think that's where these broadcasters hope things are going to go, is a la carte paid services to make up for the revenue they're going to get from all these cable cutters or cord cutters, whatever. Right. But I don't think it's viable. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to do something stupid. I mean, CBS is a huge media company, and they're making a stupid mistake. in my eyes. I don't see why they don't all just jump on board with one platform like Hulu. They're already charging out the wazoo for it with commercials, so they still get ad revenue. I mean, it's like it's a 100th of what they get for air time. I don't know why they don't all do this. I mean, to make it even worse, just to show how stupid these people are, I think it's Comcast is looking to purchase a majority share of Hulu right now, and the rumor is part of that negotiation is the requirement that next day streaming of current seasons of shows would be disabled across all of Hulu. Just take it off entirely.
Yeah,
which is one of the main reasons to even have Hulu.
Right. Well,
but it's in order to try to prevent or disincentivize people from cutting the cord.
Right.
And I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Which is again why I think the authenticating against Comcast or Verizon makes sense, because it keeps the cable people happy. And they're also, for an additional fee, they can just say, you don't want cable, pay $15. If you have cable, pay $9 or whatever you pay through the cable company to get BBC. I pay a lot of money for BBC America. Yeah. So why would I want to then go ahead and pay an extra $15 to be able to watch all their, you know what I mean? Like, they're already getting my money one way or the other. But anyway, there is a third option, though. That is that the BBC or an eccentric, wealthy listener starts mailing us DVDs to review as far as keeping our podcast on it. Because the reason why we're talking about this, obviously, is Dan and I, the whole point that we did this podcast was to just go to originally just Netflix and review the episodes that just about anybody can watch with us. And now that's been taken away. So something's going to happen. Like, some announcement is going to be made.
What's so frustrating is
soon, I would hope.
They pulled the plug on all these agreements before they had anything ready to replace it. I mean, maybe it's a day away, maybe it's a month away, maybe who knows. But that seems that seems really. I'm sure it's just because that's the agreement that they had at the time was expiring. They're going to extend it for an extra whatever until the thing's ready. But that's really frustrating and punishing to the consumers. So I don't know. Maybe we'll know by the next time we do our next broadcast.
Yeah, our next one is Talons of Wang Chiang, which I have seen already. I haven't seen it in years, so I would like to rewatch it. It's one of the ones I don't own. Like, I didn't buy it on iTunes. So.
I went ahead and bought this one, the Deadly Assassin that we're reviewing. I'm really glad I did, because we'll get into it, but this is one of the best episodes. Man,
all right, so do you have anything else? Because we can just jump into the episode.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm just like floored over this pulling of the streaming. So otherwise, I've been watching season 9 that you bought me. Oh man,
I don't want to talk about it now. I only have one episode left because we're already like 10 minutes in. We'll talk about it next episode. We could talk about the whole.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to
the whole thing,
which is good because I'm gonna go back and watch some of it again so I can be better.
Yeah, I just finished Heaven Sent. But anyway, we'll get into it. So you want to hit the magic?
Yeah, I'll hit that
magic button. Do it.
Turn it off. Tweedledee. I must apologize for my subordinate. He lets his enthusiasm run away with him.
I see. The hot and cold technique.
We are simply seekers of the truth, and we haven't got much time. Chancellor Goth has ordered your immediate trial.
I'd like to help you. How about a signed confession?
That will help. I hate going to court without possessing the full facts. Motive, for instance.
Now, that's a sensible question. Why should anyone want to assassinate a retiring president?
A personal grudge?
I never met him.
I know. I've seen your biog.
And you still think I did it?
I think you're going to be executed for it. They are preparing the vaporization chamber now. You have about 3 hours to live, Doctor.
What? Well, that's monstrous. Vaporization without representation is against the Constitution.
You are an embarrassment.
You realize I've been framed, don't you?
Framed?
Yes, framed. So the Earth expressed it means that someone's got a great deal of trouble to get me into this mess.
Why did you come back here?
To try and save the president's life.
All right, it's the Deadly Assassin. You like that, right? I took a little, for listeners at home, I did a delay, just enough to throw Dan off when I just started yelling about the Deadly Assassin, which is what we're reviewing today.
Oh, yeah.
This is 1976 The fourth Doctor is summoned back to Gallifrey, where he experiences a premonition of the assassination of the Time Lord President. After he arrives, he realizes he wasn't called there by the Time Lords, who instead attempt to arrest him and impound his TARDIS. The Doctor escapes their custody and tries to prevent the death of the President, only to find himself framed for the murder. In order to avoid his trial and execution, the Doctor uses an election technicality to postpone his time and unravels the mystery behind the deadly assassin. Do you like how I hooked in the title, too, at the end?
That was pretty good.
Like, if TV Guide were still around.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Eric writes all of these before we start, and he's getting pretty good at the English language.
All right, so this is the third story of the 14th season. As I said, 1976. It's written by everyone's favorite Robert Holmes and directed by David Maloney.
Yep.
It sounded like you liked this episode, so is that
this is good.
Correct?
Yeah, I mean... There's
one of the best.
I have a couple of issues with it, but for the most part, I love it because it's right up my alley. It is not historical. It is full of the canon. It is definitely like
chock full of
so much stuff. Especially a lot of stuff that we find out that gets referred back to in the current incarnation of Doctor Who. I mean, there's just
and you know
so
it's serious because it opens with a scroll.
Is this the first?
Scroll,
is this the only time we've ever seen that? That was amazing.
I think so.
Yeah. It starts off with a very kind Star Wars ish overlay with the Doctor doing a voiceover.
There's a lot of science fiction things that we will see later.
I have a ton of notes on that. Yeah, definitely felt like this episode was used for a lot of other sci-fi shows and movies.
Yeah, and it's straight crazy. Like, a lot of it, they don't take any time in just going nuts. Like, it starts off with the scroll, and you're like, well, what's happening? Yep. And then you get the Doctor's premonition, which is like this first-person perspective assassination thing. It's just straight up crazy.
Intercutting, jump cut back to his face reacting to the thing that's happening. Yeah. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, and who is the character that is the old security guy? Is it not Castelline?
No, Elgin.
Elgin. Is he the main guy? The guy that looks like he was just handed the script for the show? Like, all of his reading? He is a great character, but not a lot of preparation went in.
Well, this is definitely one of those episodes where I felt like the actors were like, I just gotta say these words. They don't mean anything. Just gotta get these words out of my mouth. It's just empty syllables. Especially when later they hook the Doctor up to the that Matrix, and they're
it's literally the Matrix. It's a computer that generates a reality that that he experiences. Not to mention, he also builds a hookah at one point.
Yes, he does.
There's a lot of they talk about vaporizing years before there's vaporizing, and he does build a hookah, right? And when he pretends that he's still sitting in the chair with his scarf, smoking out of his hookah, only to go into one of the craziest episodes, complete with clowns looking through puddles. So again, we're jumping all over the place, but
hopefully you guys have watched this already, so you know what that. Oh my gosh, it's so good. All right, so I was reading a little bit about this. Again, I just gotta say, TARDIS Data Core, TARDIS.wiki.com. You guys are fantastic. Everyone should go there and donate to them after you donate to us. But they mentioned,
we could use DVDs.
They mentioned that this is the only serial that the Doctor appears in without a companion.
Yeah. Ever? Really?
No companion whatsoever. Now we've had stuff in the current series where a companion has left. Let's say after Rose leaves, and then the Christmas special, he picks up a companion for the episode. He does that all the time. This one, there's no companion.
Yeah.
So they said this is the only serial that ever happened. At all.
Yeah, it's very strange because he's got no one really to talk to bounce things off. I mean, they adopt the guy that I said that sort of looked like he was just handed the script. He's sort of the companion.
Well, no, Castellan is he's like the kind of detective. He's kind of his guy to bounce stuff off, but he's an adversary, especially at the beginning because he's investigating the assassination. There's just no one for him. So that was kind of cool. And for some reason, Castellan sounded like that was someone that we should know or has come back. But I was looking around, I can't find any other mention of this guy. This is the only story he appears in. But that just sounded like someone else we've heard of before, maybe. But it wasn't. Anyway, I don't know why I brought that up.
Right.
Just to let you know I'm wrong.
That's all right. We could bring that up.
So what did we learn in this episode? There's a lot of cool stuff. We can go. We can go episode by episode.
We go back to the CIA too.
Yeah.
You reintroduce the concept of the CIA, which was in the Three Doctors.
Yeah.
Which is the what's it stand for? It's the
Celestial Intervention Agency.
Yes, and they're portrayed as this ruthless group. There's like a comment about them too, where like the CIA is full of ruthless murderers,
Right.
where they all looked at the camera and then
they all winked,
pointed at
and it's
Americans.
Like, you know what I'm talking about?
That's great.
Yeah, there's.
You know what we're referring to, because when we say CIA, we're also
because it has a
CIA.
dual.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
and then there's also the live broadcast that he watches that is like looking through the guy just looking right up at him. Like,
well,
right
but no, we see later that's where the camera was mounted.
Yes,
the camera.
yes.
But
it's such a
so
funny angle.
Yeah, speaking right to you, Doctor. So this is,
and there's also go on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say during the grand spectacle, the coronation or whatever, and then it sounds like Iron Butterflies playing in the background with that organ is just rocking out, and all those guys with those dumb headgears and big shoulder pads and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're getting ready for
They should be on roller skates.
Glam rock.
Like if they were on roller skates, I totally would have bought it.
The budget for this episode must have been insane. For the costumes, they had a cast of like a couple dozen extras that needed to all wear these costumes. The panopticon, where the ceremony is taking place and all the action happens, is pretty massive for a Doctor Who set.
Yeah.
And it's not the only set. There's a lot of other sets they had to build, plus location shots in a quarry and apparently in a jungle. I mean, there's just this was a really big budget, and the makeup for the Master. Obviously, I guess you guys have already watched this, but this is reappearance of the Master. Hey, why does the Master look like Skeletor?
The way they say it, that he's out of regeneration.
Yes, so but
he's still clinging to life, but his body has sort of is on its very last leg. It's completely fallen. He's going to disintegrate, and that's how he's going to die.
Right.
I have a whole thing with that anyway, because people die in this that are Time Lords, starting with the President, and nobody regenerates.
Okay, actually.
So why don't I was
thinking about that too.
There's a guard. There's the President.
I was thinking the guards may not actually be able to regenerate. They are not Time Lords. They are
but there's certainly Goth.
But I don't know that
Goth and the President.
I don't know if this is for people that are doing a Doctor Who show review. We should know a lot more of this. But I don't necessarily think that all Gallifreyans can regenerate. I think it's Time Lords who can generate. They are different.
Even judging with that,
the President should have
the President and Goth are both Time Lords.
Yes.
So,
Goth,
but they don't.
I don't. Yeah, maybe there's something special that happened there, but they do definitely say they imply strongly the 12th regeneration limit, which gets circumvented.
Which we're still dealing with.
Yeah.
How did they get around it now? He got recharged or something.
He was granted more.
Granted more.
So it's not.
By
it's
the
not
Sisters of Karn. Is that how we got?
No,
more? I don't remember the episode where that.
It wasn't them.
It was like the name of the Doctor or the day of the Doctor of something of the
as
Doctor.
A reward for saving the galaxy.
Gotcha.
So it's not any sort of physical limit. It's just this is what they do.
But to answer your question, I think that was his body was.
But how did he get? My question is,
down.
how did he get to that point? Like what killed him? And I was going back and looking to see when was the last time we saw the Master in a TV story. Had nothing to do with that. It looks like it was.
No, when they mentioned that planet.
Yeah, so there's a planet. So there are some prose Doctor Who stories and comics as well that kind of lead up to that as well. So it was something that happened on a planet after he had gone to Skaro and whatever. Right. So this is where.
So the Doctor shows up. He has his premonition again that we mentioned in the description of the episode, what have you. He ends up getting framed for it, right? So he runs from the security or the police or what have you. I guess it's Goth who shoots the guard, right? Because it's a figure in a hood. It could be the Master, I guess, or it could be Goth who's working for him.
Right.
They kill the guy. He ends up stealing. He leaves the TARDIS and then he goes back into the TARDIS because that's where he sees the news broadcast. Then he escapes again because they've impounded the TARDIS. Then he steals the robes. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to the party where he's hanging out and seeing his old teachers. And there's lots of cool things like that did give the the Doctor.
Some more of his
a
backstory
character.
of what he was like when he was on Gallifrey.
So he goes there, and then he sees the place where the gun is. Like, he sees the gun.
Up by the camera.
And he goes to get the gun, and then he's looking through the sites, to try to find the assassin, the true assassin.
Yeah.
And then he sees the assassin shoot him, but not the face of the assassin. Like,
yeah, that was...
You know what I mean? Like,
that's a story
I know
thing,
it was you,
like,
Goth, because I watched you. Dude, like, that part was a little strange. And then the whole... Yeah, and the way that they say, well, no, clearly I didn't kill him because the sights are off.
Yeah.
It's like, that... Was your intent to kill him? Because if you were the assassin and you knew the sights were off, you could have broke the sights after you shot him, or you could have angled it in a way that...
Right, that was not hey, which is why Castellan didn't believe him to begin with.
It doesn't matter, but it does lead to a great... symbolic move when they do frame him for the murder and they drag him through the the place where they're having the big coronation ceremony or whatever. He looks immediately like Jesus. He's got where he's being dragged through the streets and everyone's throwing at him and telling him that he's a monster.
Yeah.
I was like, you are on your way to your crucifixion, Messiah. Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, super subtle.
Oh man. So anyway, so that happens, and then he. Again, this is a very strange technicality. It's Article 17 or Article 18?
Article 17.
Article 17 that says if you're running for office, you could commit murder.
Basically.
Is that like you're guaranteed liberty, so it doesn't matter if you...
If you're running for the presidency, you can't be barred or restrained from...
Which is a great... that's a whole... why... one of these crazy Time Lords should have just had, the election of a lifetime and just went on a murder spree.
Well, he hadn't been convicted yet, so it's fine. But the Master kind of knew that he was going to do this, because he's just that clever, just knew all the steps that the Doctor was going to take along the way. Just backing up real quick, other science fiction references. Did this not look exactly, the assassination setup and everything look exactly like Star Trek VI?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
I didn't see it.
Really? Come on.
So, we're back to the same thing. I've only seen...
Just makes me so upset. Okay,
Wrath of Khan and
I'm talking to you, audience, and not to Eric. It just looks exactly like...
Is it the same thing?
Yeah, there's an assassin that's going to shoot the I haven't seen this in forever. The president of the Federation. What's that?
Are the whales in that one?
No, that's 4. This is later than that. Anyway, that's very much... It's almost the exact same setup, except at the end, I think Kirk jumps in and knocks the president out of the way.
Says he's running for president.
Anyway, I had to mention.
So anyway, the Doctor... Yeah, the Doctor, again, gets his technicality. He's running for president. So then he starts to work with Castellan, right? Yes. Castellan's the guy I'm talking about that always, the way he delivers his lines sounds like he's just reading the script.
Well, he's the one with the really weird accent. It was
he's got it's like another Doctor.
Maybe?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know what it was, but it was something. But you're skipping a part that the Time Lord guards decided to torture the heck out of the Doctor in order to get a confession out of him. Which is a very, I don't know, a strange thing to see with... There's a lot of moments in this episode where, they're torturing the hell out of him. People get shot and there's just no reaction. They don't really even care. And at one point, Castellan shoots a guy and just he and his friend just look at each other, just like, just shot a guy.
The guys, are you talking about the guy when he's reaching for the Matrix controls or whatever? Yeah,
he couldn't just knock him out of the way and restrain him. He shot him, and they're just like, oh well, that guy's dead.
Speaking of that character, there was a scene between him and the guy Engin, and he tells Engin, I think the Doctor's been framed, and he has no idea what that is, and he's like, oh, it's an Earth expression.
Right.
But he never explains what it is. That's where he ends it, and he just keeps going. It's like, oh, okay. I don't know. What are you talking about? Oh, it's an Earth expression.
Oh, all right, then.
So, yeah. And then all of a sudden the Doctor's in a pirate shirt. Also, he's in that Seinfeld pirate shirt.
He made it work. He made it work really well.
He really did.
So, the Doctor is working with... Rassilon and Elgrin in order to figure out what's going on, and this is actually where it gets established that there is this database, this matrix, that when a Time Lord dies, their brain gets uploaded into this giant brain-like system, so that their brain patterns or their consciousness is there. That way, they can use the collective memory, experiences, and knowledge of all the deceased Time Lords in order to make predictions about the future or things that are going to happen. We definitely see that come back several times in the current series, most notably in the current series, in Series 9. Are you aware of that or not?
What?
That this comes back in the current series. Because they have the.
I don't know if they mention it specifically. The last one, again, this is, I don't want to spoil it for anybody listening to this.
So
yeah,
anyway,
I don't think you spoiled anything for me, but I don't know if they specifically mentioned the Matrix.
They don't necessarily call it Matrix, but they have the cloister wraiths, who are these. Have you seen the cloister wraiths? All right. Well, you have a great episode coming up. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, but yeah. So
and that makes sense because where I ended, they got to the place where you would probably have cloister wraiths.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's what they're called.
Anyway.
Great stuff.
So
isn't that really creepy? Isn't that just like a horrible thing that when a Time Lord finally dies,
consciousnesses are trapped in that machine?
Yeah, it's pretty. Just in order to be able to make
that's why there's so many crazy clowns trapped under the water or weird dinosaur eggs that you step on.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a world in which if you want to destroy someone, you turn them into a Barbie doll. Like, so there's definitely...
Man, that was super bad.
We skipped over that, and it happens twice. Like, I don't know what the power was that he had to
matter
shrink
condensation.
people.
It was matter condensation.
Okay, is that what they call it?
That's exactly what they call it. The Master came across the ability to do matter condensation. So...
Yeah, so anyway, so the Doctor does, to go back to your point about the Matrix, I mean, it literally is the Matrix, so anyone familiar with the movie The Matrix, it's...
I do not know what you're talking about.
A simulated program caused by all these Time Lord consciousness,
you're right. Your Latin's coming
that generate this crazy world that somehow is being used by the Master to send premonition. Like, he had used the Matrix to implant the vision of the future in the Doctor's head of the assassination. I don't understand how that works.
What I think is more clear. So when the Time Lord's brain patterns get uploaded into this Matrix, that's just used as a computer in order to make predictions. But the Master himself, he connected into this, and he's the one that set up this virtual world. This is not... I don't think this is a thing that exists just on its own. This is something because he connected to it so many times, he was able to construct this reality.
So and, that clown is from the... From the third Doctor, John Pertwee episode, because he was at the carnival, remember?
Oh, yeah, it could be.
So that's maybe from his memory of his time at the
Your
carnival.
connections you're making
connected that whole thing right there, because it's written by the same author.
Oh, see, there you go.
Right? It was Robert Holmes, I believe.
Sure. Yeah. But you know what? We don't have to feel bad about being confused about this, because I think the writer was just making up as he went along, because the actors completely didn't know anything about how to do this. That no one's ever connected their living consciousness to the Matrix. Yet when stuff starts to go down and the Doctor looks like he's going to die or whatever, they know what's happening. They figured it all out. Oh,
that kind of stuff is... Yeah, that kind of stuff is my favorite. Like that made this whole episode, like that whole sequence, and that's almost all of episode 3, right? It's like
I'm not talking about the sequence. I'm talking about the Castellan and Elgin sitting outside this and watching the Doctor sweat and know exactly what's happening inside. Oh, he needs his body's looking for sugar. That means he's about to fight. I don't know.
I had that in my notes that his sugar. It was like, oh, he's either about to run or he's going to fight a guy in the water.
He's got the munchies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So crazy.
But the entire third episode of the serial.
Yeah, it's pretty much a surrealistic
dream
nightmare
sequence. Yeah.
Dreams. They call it a dreamscape too, tying it to the movie Dreamscape.
Oh man, I loved that movie as a kid.
Yeah, it's such a great movie.
Gotta rewatch that.
Well, if this whole streaming thing doesn't work out, we'll just do a Dreamscape
podcast every
episode. But yeah, so you got crazy clowns, you get dinosaur eggs, you get the World War I imagery again.
Man, that
lots
was
of gas
that
masks.
was the one I thought was so.
Are You My Mommy?
Yeah, the gas mask and the horse wearing the gas mask thing when they're that was
and the train that's running through the thing. It's
there was some really good. The only problem I have, like, all that was awesome. That was like the first half of the third episode, but then the second half of it is just the hunter, this guy, this whole most dangerous game thing going on.
Where the Doctor is also like so thirsty and dehydrated, he's just eating leaves.
Yes.
That was also a great part where they're like, he needs water, and they end up poisoning the water.
It just...
but go on.
No, that just went on so long. It was there was not a whole lot of tension going on there. It was just like 30-second shot of the hunter walking. Just walking.
See, I love the whole thing. I love the whole thing. I was down with that whole thing.
All right. I get it. Let's go.
But one thing to talk about Goth, because we reveal at the end of this episode
it's Chancellor Goth.
That, Chancellor Goth is behind this whole thing. He's been working with the Master. He is from The Mind Robber. He's the actor that played Gulliver.
Thank you.
Remember Gulliver from
Processing.
From The Mind Robber?
Processing. No?
Okay. I believe you were fond of his character from that movie.
I believe I've seen that episode.
Yeah, he also may have been in another Doctor Who episode, but I did see that it's the same actor that had played Gulliver. Thought that was interesting.
Huh.
Again, I have in my notes here, why don't the Time Lords regenerate? And we sort of talked about that. I don't know what the answer is. If it's just that they forgot, or if there's, if the gun that they use is a way to kill a Time Lord without them regenerating. But then Goth, so eventually, and again, how does the Doctor get out of this world? He falls down in the dream, because they set up the thing like and again, just like Dreamscape, if you die here, you die in real life.
They don't specifically.
So the Doctor,
they don't get really specific about that, but
right. The Doctor has to wake up, I guess, in this world to join the real world, because they show a shot of him standing, and then I think he falls over and he wakes up.
No, I think
and he gets out, and Goth is still stuck in there.
It was because Goth was the one. It wasn't the Master connected to it this time. It was Goth connected to the Matrix. And remember when the Doctor finds that grenade and sets a booby trap, and it goes off. And apparently grenades in Dreamscapes only have about a 1-inch blast radius. Anyway, because he was right next to it.
He was lightly grazed.
He was literally standing next to it.
More irritated than anything else. Right.
But the Doctor, being far away from this, not seeing it happen, heard the blast go off and says, it didn't work, I didn't get him, because if I did, I would be out of this nightmare. So what he needed to do is actually kill or disable whoever was keeping him prisoner, and it turns out it was actually Goth in there. So when they have that struggle in the water, and it looks like Goth is going to drown him, and then the Doctor gets up and knocks him over the head, I think it was actually him knocking out Goth that let him escape it. That was
probably, but that's also another question that I have, because they say the Doctor is going to be at an advantage because the person that he's fighting in there has to maintain this reality.
Right.
And fight him. But isn't the Master maintaining the reality, and Goth is just another traveler in that world?
Sure. I mean, you can post-rationalize it. Yeah, I mean, it seems strange because when the Doctor first enters into this world, the Master's talking to him and taunting him and laughing, and the Doctor gets hurt, and his leg is bleeding, and he says he denies this reality. He realizes that it's all fake, and the Master kind of overrides that and says, no, this is my world. I created it. I'm in control. But he's not actually connected to it anymore. It's Goth that's connected. I mean, maybe you can just say that this is a world that he created, because they do mention that the Master, must have connected to it multiple times in order to set all this up. So he just set the whole thing in motion, and it was Goth that was in there kind of
and
taking
they
the
never
wheel and
quite.
driving.
I don't think they ever explain how the Master used that to put the premonition in the Doctor's mind, so that he was
inside the Matrix when this premonition was going to happen, and was able to redirect it instead of having it kind of output from the Matrix itself. He kind of diverted the signal and sent it telepathically to the. Who knows? I mean, hey,
I'm fine.
I mean, this is all hard science. We can look all this up.
And again, there is, the Master is known as being a master of mind control. Like, that's a thing that they bring up, so I'll buy it.
Yeah.
That's cool. So then we go into episode 4. The Goth is terribly injured after this, because the Master attempts to destroy the whole world by overriding it or putting too much energy into it or something.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Goth is still hooked up to the thing, so he's terribly burned. As we said, Tom Baker, or the Doctor, wakes up because he's killed the guy hunting him and decided to wake up, and he wakes up and he's like, he has a great line of, like, I had requested a non-smoking seat.
A non-smoking cabin, that's pretty good.
The machinery is smoking at that point. The Master then fakes his own death, which was kind of cool. And then we learn all about the whole reason why the Master's doing this, which is this whole mythology of Rassilon and the Sash of Rassilon and the Eye of Harmony and the Great Key. Yep. And I feel like the Eye of Harmony was mentioned in the Three Doctors, right? With Omega.
Oh yeah, maybe because Omega and Rassilon are considered the two founders of the Time Lord Society. So yeah, that could.
Yeah, because I remember like with that story, like he was so respected and well because he had traveled into a black hole, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where he got the power to sort of
that's what
power Gallifrey, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Which is connected
Rassilon
to this.
Omega.
I think
Rassilon was the architect that made this all happen, and he and Omega.
Okay, yeah, and this key is going to give you access to that power, and he's going to use that power to kind of give himself a new set of 12 regenerations.
Who knows?
Is that his goal, or just bring his body back?
Yeah, I think it's just to regenerate or come back. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he turns the guy that sent... Oh, he turned someone else into a doll. That was the last note I had.
Yeah, he turned one of the guards into a doll.
But it's great. And like in the last episode, you've got a big fight. And again, the part that I like so much about it, and I'm sure you do as well, is all the Rassilon stuff and like learning about how like that all the mythology is very cool. And the Master is such a cool character. And the fact that he does survive an escape in a grandfather clock that maybe nobody knew had been... Like, that's weird. I don't remember that old grandfather clock.
They definitely cut away. They do a hard cut to that grandfather clock out of nowhere for no reason. People are still speaking.
It's a TARDIS. Like, until it fades away, you're like, all right, there's just a grandfather clock with his weird head appearing in front of it.
So Castellan and Elgin are like about maybe 5 steps away from the grandfather clock when the Master
They could have attempted to stop it.
They could have tried.
Yeah,
but instead, he had to have a little quip that the universe isn't big enough for the two of them.
Right.
I'm sorry. I would have saved him, but I had to get I had the zinger ready. I just had to get it out.
Hey, look, that mass murderer is getting away. All right.
I wonder what's going to happen. But I mean, and just to make this really explicit, the whole reason why Rassilon is so cool is because of the sound of the drums, all the stuff that comes with the Master later on. Timothy Dalton coming back as the Master, as Rassilon, actually getting to see him, because I don't know that you actually see him at any other time, but he's made reference to it a lot of the prose in the comics as well about Rassilon. Okay.
And this is the first time you ever heard of him, right?
First time
this episode in the timeline.
I'm trying to remember if
I don't think we
in the episode with Omega if they mentioned Rassilon then.
Maybe they
they did. I mean, that's where they should have if they were going to. I don't know if they did though.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, again, like this whole episode as a whole just sets some of the things that are going to end up haunting the writers in the future that they have to get. Once the Doctor himself ends up at 12,
what do you do? Yeah.
I couldn't find anything about. And maybe I didn't look hard enough, but why 12? Like, what made him put that in there? Like,
why did they choose that number instead of 100? Or
12, and like, is it have any kind of significance? Or
I don't.
I guess
other than the number that no, I don't know that it does. I mean, 12 just has its own significance, but I don't know that it meant anything other than it was they were on the 4th Doctor, and 12 was a lot further away. So I mean, who could foresee that they're going to have 50 plus seasons or
it's just years. Strange, like because I understand they needed to have the Master be fighting for his life, and he's a Time Lord, so he's going to regenerate. So they had to give him something that said his life cycle was over.
And especially since you're going to have a character, you're going to have a character that's going to recur throughout the series, so he would have to have the same ability to recast it with different actors as well.
But anyway, so all in all, great episode.
Really good.
I really like this one a lot.
Oh, they also
I don't have any negatives, really.
Do you have any other good sci-fi references throughout this besides like Dreamscape?
Dreamscape, you've got the crawl in the beginning. You've got Matrix, obviously. There's others. I don't have any. Do you have one?
This is really small, but they do say resistance is futile now, which is a whole Borg thing from Star Trek.
Really?
It does say that, which is pretty funny. And for some reason, the fight sequence between the Master and the Doctor, they're climbing up the stairs and everything's falling down, it's all smoke and kind of backlit, was very much to me like Vader and Luke fighting.
There's definitely a lot of Star Wars stuff throughout this whole...
Which is obviously it's the other way around.
Series,
it's Star Wars is... if any of these things that we mention have any similarities, it's that they are borrowing from this, as opposed to the other way around. We're just coming to it late. It just feels... You know what I mean? We're coming at it in a kind of timey-wimey sort of way. Like, we've seen all these other references, and they're all coming from this thing that we're seeing later.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I will defend your right to say it.
Anyway, this is the source material. We're just coming to it much later after having seen all the things that are referencing it. That's all.
Yes.
That was kind of obvious. I didn't need to say that, but I'll say it again.
The Dreamscape universe too is very much like a Crispin Glover video.
You mean just the video that's playing in his head all the time? Or?
Yeah, no. Remember he put out that album and he had Clowny. Oh no! Oh, you gotta go. You gotta go do that right now. You gotta go to YouTube and put Crispin Glover. His record was great. Like he had like a whole puzzle in it where you had to sort of listen to the songs and look on the album and figure out this thing. And the end result was you got an 800 number or a phone number and you would call it and you'd get a message.
Oh my gosh, one of the songs is called Crispin Glover, Clowny Clown Clown.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So if you watch that, you're like, oh, okay, that could have just walked out of this
is super bonkers.
Crazy world. But yeah, good stuff. So what else we got? Do we have anything else on this? I'm glad at least somebody is Googling Crispin Glover's album. He's,
can you hear that at all?
He should be the master. I can't hear it. I can lay it in.
You got it.
I'll lay it in.
I'm trying to play it.
I was walking on the ground. I didn't make a sound. Then I turned around and I saw a clown. Had a frown. Stood on a mound.
Yeah, this is insanity. We need to have a link in the show notes to Clowny Clown Clown.
Yeah, I will put that in there.
It is blowing my mind.
It gets like the Concubine song. Like there is so much good stuff on that record.
Oh, jeez.
I recommend that to all of you people.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So I guess we're gonna be able to wrap this up. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. While we're talking, though, I did do a quick look up on Rassilon, and it says his first appearance was The Five Doctors. And I just actually spoiled the end of Doctor Who now because I went to that thing and I saw his last appearance.
Whatever.
Whatever. So anyway, The Five Doctors... Wait, no, he was... Oh, I guess appearance, but not mention.
Sure.
Okay. Ignore me, people. I think, we still don't know if this is the first time he was mentioned as far as Doctor Who episodes go.
Yeah.
Man, I shouldn't look that up. I'm like,
you have no context for what's going to happen. It's cool.
I don't.
It's cool.
It's fine. All right, you want to add anything to this before we...
No, I think
podcast
I think we got it. For me, it was worth buying on iTunes, considering that was the only legal way for me to actually watch this episode or this serial. So hopefully you guys will do the same. But we'll keep you updated as to what happens with the streaming service. You can find out.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll put some information on the olddoctorwhoshow.com just to let you guys know what our plans are for this. I want to keep going, obviously. I love Doctor Who universe, and I like doing this show a lot. But it does kind of stink that it's changing the whole reason why we did this. So.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more expensive.
A lot more.
If I have to buy these. Some of these I own.
I do want to support the creators for this. I do want to purchase or support them by subscribing to services that do show these episodes. But I'm sure any of you guys use the internet know that there are other ways to see the show. So please continue to watch and follow along with us.
All right, so this is going to air on February 10th. With 3 weeks from then, we should know.
Yeah.
I hope we know what the plan is and if there's a launch date for a new service or whatever. So the plan is going forward, Talons of Wang Chang.
Yep.
If that changes, as Dan said, we'll post something on the site.
Yep.
I guess I'll have to redo the whole schedule page because it's pointless to have checkboxes now for Netflix and Hulu Plus if those ultimately go away.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you can find me, Eric Grissom, on ericgrissom.com, and that's where I will be if you want to get in touch with me about... you know what?
What?
I got to say something.
What?
I guess I could have just mentioned it next time.
What's that?
But one of the episodes of the new series, Season 9, the Face the Raven episode, features a tattoo that sort of moves under your skin, and it kind of has messaging. It's like a timer. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not going to spoil the episode for anybody that hasn't seen it, but I just want the people to know that when Gregory's Suicide comes out next year, I had a whole tattoo messaging system into the story well before that, so you don't think I stole it from...
Okay, so back up. and tell us about what's going on with Gregory Suicide, which...
I can't tell you officially what's going on. I will say that it is going to come out next year.
I don't know what that means.
It's going to be a graphic novel.
Cool.
And it will be published by someone other than myself.
Man.
So that's all I can...
You guys know that Eric's written several different books. Gregory Suicide, I read the first story and wanted more immediately. Just right away. And normally I don't like anything he does, but this was
like he's like, oh God, man, this guy sucks.
No, this was so good. So that's great news, dude. I didn't know that anything was coming with that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, cool. It's not official. I will.
So all of you thousands and hundreds of millions of people listening to this, keep your lips sealed about this.
Yeah. So if you want to read the issue that Dan's talking about, this self-contained one-shot, you can actually go to my site and you can buy it from Comixology for $1.
It's so worth it. It's so good.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Dan. But anyway, there's a whole tattoo messaging system thing that I have, and I saw that, I was like shaking my fist. It's not quite the same, but it was very cool.
It's a friggin' clever idea, so that's great.
All right, anything else, Dan? Oh, I gave my address. Give me your address.
You can find me at DanJNJ on Twitter if you want to tweet at me. But you know what you should do is either send us an email at theolddoctorwhoshow@gmail.com. You can find that on theolddoctorwhoshow.com. You can also go to iTunes and give us a review if you listen to this. It is the best way to help. It's the best way to help people find out about us. Give us a rating and an actual type up a few words about what you think.
Yes, because I think I don't know what the threshold is, but I think you have to get to 20 maybe or 10 before they even show a rating. Like we have 3 ratings and everyone's given us very high marks, which is great. But if you search for our podcast, I think it still says not enough. Yeah, we've not received enough reviews to actually give you an actual rating, so we're not even showing up.
So get on that, folks, because I can only
get on that.
I can only create so many fake email addresses. No, not true.
Secrets.
Not true. These are all real.
Yeah, these are all real people.
Okay. Anyway, so that's it.
Yeah, we'll see you. We'll definitely see you in 3 weeks. Hopefully, we have good news about the show.
Everyone keep your
there was other Doctor Who news.
What was that?
We didn't talk about. Stephen Moffat is leaving.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. Here's the
Peter Capaldi probably.
I'm sure he is. I think he's going to do his Christmas special and then he's out. I'm guessing. I don't think anything's been announced, but I think so. But
how many has he done? Seasons.
He's done 2 seasons, so it'd be very short. He might do one more. I could see him doing another. But here's the thing: is there is no Doctor Who except for the Christmas story in all of 2016. So there's no streaming right now. There's no new stories coming out. Nothing's happening. So that kind of stinks. But so Moffat's going to be leaving. They're still writing the stories for 2017. And
what if there's no streaming until the new show? What if they take all of the whole year to launch it all at once?
Guys,
if you want to get the new season of Doctor Who, you have to pay $15 for this new service.
Guys, you'll notice in this podcast stream, I've included a cyanide pill for you. Now is the time to bite down on it.
Oh boy! So anyway, that's just some speculation and thoughts. But
there's nothing.
I have mixed feelings on Moffat. Overall, I like him. I'm happy to see someone new come, and that's not a negative thing on Moffat at all. I think this last season is some of his best work and some of my favorite Doctor Who of all of the new stuff.
Definitely.
But I am sort of interested to see sort of a new take on it without being a negative against Stephen Moffat.
There's a pretty big tonal shift and structural shift going from Davies to Moffat. Though I'll say it again, some of my favorite Russell T Davies episodes were ones written by Moffat. So maybe, Moffat will sign off as showrunner, but still continue to write some episodes because his are pretty freaking great.
Cool. I feel like that probably is going to be the case, at least a couple, because he seems like such a huge
do we have
fan.
Another a Neil Gaiman episode coming? Wasn't that... Did he... Because he did the one.
This season.
He did the Doctor's Wife. But I thought he had 2.
Right, he did one after that.
Oh, he did. All right, he already did 2.
He did one after that.
That's just my fan fiction that he's going to keep writing for Doctor Who. So.
No, but I think I had heard that. And I heard Grant Morrison, another comic writer. Wasn't he supposed to do one too?
You told me that, so if you had a fever dream...
Maybe that was just sort of something that went around that wasn't actually true.
Yeah. Oh, and Eric and I are writing episodes for it as well. They're never going to get produced.
Who's the new showrunner?
It was the name that I did not recognize.
he was someone that's written for the show before, right?
Yes, he has a history with Doctor Who.
You should know this. You should know this. You're the master of the new series.
I just like the new series. Anyway, you guys already know this.
Right, so
you guys are on the internet.
Yeah, it's Chris Chibnall.
Crispin Glover. It's Crispin Glover is going to be running.
Crispin Glover. I'm telling you, he should be the new Doctor, or he should be the new Master. He should probably be the new Master.
Yeah,
he would be perfect. But anyway, he did something called Broadchurch, which I'm not familiar with, but that's supposed to be pretty good.
Man, it was a super depressing kind of procedural crime thing starring David Tennant. It was very good.
Okay.
But just,
is he the main guy?
Yeah, Tennant was the main guy. Just really, really hard. Good show, hard to watch.
Okay. I'm just looking up Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Oh, man. Not one of my favorites.
I didn't like that episode.
Not one of my favorites.
Me neither. He also did Cold Blood.
Which one was that?
Do you remember that one?
No.
That was a doctor.
The name's not that descriptive.
It goes deep underground and finds an ancient society that has been just disturbed by the drug.
Okay. I like that one. That was the reappearance
that was one of his
the Silurians.
Hungry Earth. Hungry Earth.
That was the two-parter.
Another one.
That was the two-parter of Silurians. Yep. That's cool.
We did 42. I liked 42.
I remember.
That was the spaceship that was heading for the sun or something. Yeah. I thought that was cool. It was like a 42 minutes.
Yeah.
The whole episode
That's not
was like
bad.
in real time.
Okay, so other than dinosaurs in space, this is pretty good.
And Power of Three. I don't remember that one. Earth is suddenly visited by millions of small black cubes of unknown origin.
Oh, yeah. That's the beginning of a Master episode,
I must have
isn't
seen
it?
it.
That's a Master episode.
That one. Was it?
I think so.
All right, so I feel like we're just kind
of riffing here, guys.
We're just riffing and doing whatever. Oh, he wrote Torchwood. Look at that.
Oh, man. Did you ever see the Stars series of Torchwood?
Started off great. I feel like we may have talked about this a little bit, but premise I thought was great.
Yeah.
Really cool idea, really interesting way to see what would happen if people stopped dying and getting... and what would you do with all the bodies and all the logistical problems and all that stuff. But I felt like it just hit a point and then it just went, like it had nothing going on. And I actually stopped watching.
I didn't finish it either. And I loved Torchwood. But, I kind of left Torchwood after most of the characters died. That kind of stank. I mean, there were some good characters and they just, all right, everyone's dead now. That kind of sucks.
What was the miniseries? Children... the one with Peter Capaldi.
He was in that?
Children of Earth?
Children of Earth. He was in that?
I keep saying Children of Men. Yeah, he was like the guy talking to the...
Oh, yeah, we talked about that too. Right.
Creature. Well, why can't I think of the name of that?
That's right.
Children of Earth?
Yeah, Children of Earth.
Children... Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Why does that not sound right?
I don't know.
Anyway, we're definitely off the reservation here, but that's a great series.
Yeah, Torchwood. Children of
great
Earth.
podcast. I love the part where you guys just start naming things that you like. Hey, remember that other thing? Yeah, it was Midnight. Russell T. Davies wrote that episode. It's called Midnight.
It's a good episode.
Yeah, it is a great episode.
All right. We're done.
So anyway, that's it. We're done. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you in 3 weeks, and hopefully we have a solution to...
Hopefully we'll have built a website to stream all of this from.
But again, I'm totally not kidding. If you want to send us DVDs...
Yeah, that would not be a bad thing to do.
It doesn't even have to be Doctor Who. You send us a DVD of anything.
Yeah, a wedding, bar mitzvah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Okay.
It's all cool. All right.
Later.
Good night, everyone. Bye. All right, let's stop this.
Oh, what a mess.
I was walking on the ground. I didn't make a sound. Then I turned around and I saw a clown. Had a frown. Stood on a mound. Started barking like a hound. When I came to it, I found he showed me something that was brown. So we became great friends. And late in life, he got sick. I gave him some soup, but he got worse. It asked for its purse. It got it, but it was empty, so it cried aplenty. I wondered what to do. I didn't know what to think, so I got a drink. And then I showed it something that was round. Then it died, smiled, fell on the ground. about those days with the clown.